Little flare, center field, diving, catching, out!
5-4-3 around the horn from the seat.
And he hits a high drive to deep left field, down towards the pole. That ball is up and it is gone!
All right. Well, welcome to the very first, not the first time that Mr. Kuhnen and I have been together talking about sports, but the very first High Wheelers local sports show. And I'm excited about this because we're going to cover high school and, maybe Yuba College will move up,
We'll see what they do.
Yeah, if they're
we'll make them earn their keep here. I don't want to be gifting anything to anybody.
Yeah. If you don't have a team doing well, then we're. But I just want to say we appreciate the Yuba Sutter High Wheelers. They sponsor this program. I felt for a very long time it was important to have a sports program that covered our high schools, and I mean everything. Although, are we going to cover curling?
That's one of those. We'll see if it's a slow news day. If nothing is going on, well, then maybe curling will make it into the to the chart there. But
well, once pickleball officially becomes a high school sport, well,
okay. Have you ever played pickleball?
No,
you've never played pickleball.
No, is it? Have you?
It is. It's like it's a cross between tennis and ping pong. It's like somewhere a happy medium between the two. You play with a smaller little paddle there.
Well, I've seen the paddle. It looks like wiffle ball.
Well, it's played on basically a badminton court.
Oh,
and you're using a paddle, and it's a plastic ball with holes in it. And I'll tell you, the first time I heard it, I don't know why they called it pickleball. Maybe I had an aversion to playing it for the longest time because of the name.
Yeah.
But then once I started playing, it's actually addictive once you get into it.
So I got in with this group. It was a church group. And they said, hey, Pastor Bob, let's go play volleyball.
Welcome to Confessions.
Have you ever heard of volleyball?
Yes.
And I was absolutely amazed. It's volleyball in a racquetball court.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun because you can play off the walls.
Yep.
I mean, it's like,
I used to play that in college all the time back when I don't know that I ever had
I
athletic ability, but back when I thought I did.
Yeah. So I have to ask, Todd, so do you miss the press box over there at Bryant Field?
Honestly, this happens to me every year. Last year was my 9th season doing baseball games over at Bryant Field. And every year it's the same thing. As soon as the last game is done, you start having this feeling like it's going to be 10 months before I'm doing this again. And you start to miss it.
Yeah.
You start to miss. Now, last year was the longest season I'd ever done because with the Pioneer League, they actually start in late May and they go through all the way to
First
September.
First game will be May. Oh, I'm going to be wrong on this. Aiden, what's your birthday? Yep, it's May 13th.
May 13th.
They're playing their first game on Aiden's birthday. Aiden is, those of you can't see him, I should bring him over here, but he is going to be the official board op for you. And you had him last year, so.
Be honest, Aiden is completely fixed. There's nobody back there. You're just talking to people.
Make it up.
Just making it up.
There's no person named Aiden.
Well, that's awesome that Aiden's going to be doing that because we had a good time last year. Had a lot of fun doing
so you'll be doing
the games.
The play-by-play again. We're going to be moving from Flow Sports to another carrier to do that. More cameras, although they decided not to put a camera in the press box.
Did they go against that? They decided not to do that?
I think it was unanimous that there would be.
Let me tell you something. I am not objecting to that because when I first heard that was suggested they were going to put a camera in the press box, my thought was, wait a minute. That means I actually have to look presentable when I'm doing a game.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't want to have to dress up.
Yeah, you're going to have to put a shirt on. So listen, we're going to be covering a lot of. We've got a lot of high schools around here, and then there's even some sports that goes in a lower grade. But you're going to be covering the main high school sports, and you were talking about there's some teams right now that are kind of sticking out.
Yeah.
So just go ahead and run with it.
Sure. So we've got how many high schools? Like 6, 7 high schools in the area. You've got. Just staying with, I'm not going to go too far out, so we'll go Sutter High School, then we've got Yuba City High School, River Valley, and then we have Marysville High School, Lyndhurst, Wheatland High School,
Yes.
so now we're at 6. And if you start including like East Nicholas and Live Oak, you're at 8, and then again, as you talked about, maybe Yuba College, but we'll see what they bring to the table.
Well, I think those 8, and we'll call it the Big 8.
The Big 8, yeah,
The Big 8, like the Big 10, the Big 8.
And almost all of them, I believe, all of them have both boys and girls sports with the major sports. You got basketball right now. Basketball season is in swing, and you're right. Some of the teams are scuffling a little bit. There's a lot of balance on either side of the win-loss column. But then you've got folks like Marysville High School having a phenomenal year this year in basketball. We'll talk about what they've done. They had a game last week up in Colfax. And that was a heartbreaker because they ended up dropping that game. I think it was 80-77, and that one actually made them 6-1 in conference on the season, and that puts them tied with Colfax at 6-1. So
that's one of those. Couldn't someone hit from the paint? I mean, couldn't
I know.
something have happened? You're that close, 3 points, right? Couldn't they have done that? But
that would have been great if they could have done that. And I'm sure there's a lot of heartbreak, but sometimes a loss isn't all that bad if you really want to make a push into the playoff system. You start to believe your own legendary status, and maybe a loss lights a fire. The kids don't want to see that anymore. We'll see what happens. But that was a tough loss for Marysville last week.
So I'm watching the way that sports unfolds in our area, and I have for a while, and it's why I've wanted to do a high school sports program where we can identify these kids that are great players, up and coming, and games that are like that. And you were telling me earlier that you're going to try to get a hold of some kids from these different schools to do the journalism for it, and which would be awesome.
I just think that would provide such an opportunity for kids that are looking at. It's never too early to start thinking about what you want to do for a career, and kudos to those that know early on what they want to do. And I know that in getting onto some of the websites that are covering these teams, you'll see that they'll have a student reporter associated with the team. And if there's a student reporter that's associated with Marysville High School, Yuba City High School, well, you know what? Let's go ahead and put your journalistic chops to the test and have you go ahead and create something, and then we'll bring you on the show and have you actually help us give the update for what that team has done. That's why we picked Saturday for this show, so that it could be a recap of everything that had happened the previous week, and also let the listeners know what's coming up the following week. So if folks want to go out and see the game, support their team. I mean, this is community radio after all, and what a better way, right?
Well, and it's late enough in the afternoon doing it at 4 that all that stuff you got to get done, like laundry and
you're right around the time of day where it's like, I'm done with chores. Let's listen to what's happening in the sports world.
Find out who's winning.
Yes, yes. So that is where we're going to go with this. We're also, it's the intention here to get a lot of input from the athletic directors from the local schools, so that they can come in, talk about their kids, what's going on, and try to get exposure. I think that sometimes you can have a real diamond in the rough playing for your program, and we live in a day and age now where it really helps if you have some sort of coverage by your local community, sort of boost your star power, so to speak, that maybe gets you a look from a bigger school in Southern California that might not be necessarily looking at the Yuba Sutter area. They might be looking at a larger population center. This is just something that will help us to get the kids on the map for moving on.
I do want to mention that the high wheelers. I did not expect last season for them to be that level of baseball.
Oh, I know.
And I was just talking to my grandson today, and he was telling me there are kids that are junior varsity throwing in the low 90s.
Yeah.
Junior varsity.
I know.
And it's like, man, we're
that is amazing when you have kids that are hitting that kind of velocity on the radar gun. And I don't know, in years past with the baseball teams that have played in here, we've historically been a collegiate wood bat league, and I'm sure that there were some guys that were bringing it, but in terms of miles per hour, there were some guys where you could see that ball is definitely moving a lot faster. Mm-hmm. But that's one of the things I liked about last year. That's the first time we actually had, it was a great feature. We had the ability to see not only the strike zone, because of the way they have a digital eye in the sky, so to speak, that would show up on a monitor that we could see that would tell you whether it was a ball or strike. And the Pioneer League was one of those where you got a certain number of challenges per game. So if a batter thought it was out of the zone and the umpire called a strike, he could tap his helmet and they could go ahead and challenge that. But the other thing that was really cool last year was you saw how fast the ball was moving. Yeah. And there were a couple of guys playing for the High Wheelers last year that could hit mid-90s, mid to upper 90s.
Yeah.
And that was pretty amazing to see somebody coming in pitching at big league level speeds.
Harrison, who is a new general manager, told me, he said, I understand you threw out the first pitch last year. And I said, yeah. He said, we're going to do it again, but we're going to track it this time. My gosh, that guy threw 40 miles an hour.
What's going to happen first? Is the length of the pitch or gravity going to take over? Let's see what happens. I threw out a first pitch the first year I did baseball. That would have been, what year was that year they had the Yuba City Bears? That was 2017, I believe.
I still have a shirt from that.
I
wonder if that's worth something.
I threw out a first pitch there. Now, did you feel this way when you threw out that pitch? You've probably played catch 100 times in your life. And really, you're standing 60 feet, 6 inches away, if they had you throw from the mound, from the guy catching. And all of a sudden, you start questioning whether or not you can throw at 60 feet. I've played catch my whole life, but now can I do this? And it starts to mess with your head.
Well, they had me throw warm-ups. And so, man, at first, I'm almost throwing sidearm. And it's like, it's going everywhere. And poor guy had to, run all over the place to catch it. And then finally, it's like it clicked. I remembered.
Yeah.
And man, I just pulled in, zoom, man. It was great. And so, yeah, I think if they have you do it this year, Todd, just get a little warm up and if you want, you can stand about 12 feet away.
Now, what I want to know is if you're gonna, look, you just going to throw a straight two-seam fastball, or you going to put a little English on it? Try to mix in a curve or a knuckleball.
That's what I was thinking. This year I'll throw a curve.
I could see you working in a knuckleball, right? That ball comes in, it's moving all over the place. The poor ball player's trying to catch it,
Well, it looks that way no matter what I throw. It's going all over. So let's get back. I just wanted to mention that. There's just so many exciting things happening. I realize it's not till May that the first game is, but there's so many things that are preparatory. The players. We're going to have Harrison in here next week, talk about what's happening with the High Wheelers, right? And there's 2 brand new teams in the league. One in Long Beach and one in Modesto. And so, I'm just excited for it. But we're supposed to talk about high school sports too, but I can't help it. Want to talk about the Cardinals? In the rebuilding year?
What the football or baseball Cardinals? That's almost sacrilege to ask you. It's got to be baseball Cardinals.
It is.
Yeah. But, so that'll be interesting to see what happens. You talked about the 2 new teams in the league for the Pioneer League, and they're both California ball clubs. And for those of you that don't know, the Pioneer League geographically is huge. Yeah. So it goes California over to Utah, then up into
Colorado,
Montana. Wyoming, Montana, Idaho. And geographically, it's just a huge league. And up until this year, only 2 teams in California. And those 2 teams were brand new. They'd only been in for 2 years at the conclusion of last season. That would have been the Oakland Ballers that were formed when it was set in stone that the A's were going to be leaving Oakland.
Yeah.
And then the same group actually started at the time, the YOLO High Wheelers. And did you ever hear the story how they picked the name High Wheelers and why they picked that?
Well, I just assumed it was that bicycle.
It was the bicycle, and it was because they were in Davis.
Yeah.
That's where they played their games at UC Davis, and that is where in that part of California and Davis, they're really big into cycling, and so it kind of fit with the feel of the community. And that's one of the things that I really like about the ownership group for the ball club is that they're very sensitive to things that are unique to the community. And I think they've been sensitive to the fact that maybe while High Wheelers were sensitive to the Davis community, not necessarily here. And I think we have some interesting things on the horizon.
Yeah, because I asked them to change the name to the Fish Fins, and they just refused. They said Fischetti Cove's enough. You're not getting any more notoriety.
We have to do something this year to get Fischetti Cove on some sort of memorabilia that you can give away. That you can. I mean, last year, for those of you that don't know, we have nicknamed the area Ellis Lake.
Nicknamed it, and I was like, what? But it was good.
But they were referencing Fischetti Cove in the broadcasts in other stadiums. Yes. So I was watching the broadcast, I think it was in Idaho Falls, the other one in Grand Junction, and the broadcasters there were referring to Fischetti Cove.
Well, and Harrison said when he first heard it, he thought it was that was the name of the cove.
And we just made it up.
Yep. Yeah. We'll just continue to make up stuff.
Yeah, but we've got to do something. Welcome to the Cove, Fischetti Cove. Yeah. That's
well,
our
they
thing.
wanted me to go out there and swim, and I said not going to happen.
See, I think that would be awesome.
The summer I might do it.
Get you out there. I mean, I can't go out there because, well, unless you want to white balance your camera, it doesn't do me much good to take my shirt off. There are people yelling, "Yo, Casper, you want to put your shirt back on?" So we've got that. But let's take a look here because we are talking about high school sports. So one of the interesting things about the local, we've got, like we said, 6 teams here. Not all of them play in the same league. So it's high school sports. Right. You got some that are in the Foothill Valley League, some are in the Pioneer Valley League, and the Golden Empire League. So at least 3 different leagues covering. See, Sutter is in the Golden Empire League, and then you've got the Pioneer Valley League has Marysville and Wheatland, and then Yuba City and River Valley are over in the Foothill Valley League. So last year, Sutter made a real. They went pretty deep into the playoffs for football. Sutter probably had the most successful football team of the local area. And how far did they go? They went all the way to the penultimate game, nearly the champ. There's a $1,000 word for you.
What's that?
Penultimate.
Penultimate.
Do you know what penultimate means?
No, is that a real word?
Yes, penultimate means second to last.
Oh.
So when I ran track out at Yuba College, and I did. When I ran track, when you're doing the high jump and stuff like that, the second to the last step is the one where you make stride a little longer, then go into a jump. That was called the penultimate step. See, you learn something new every day on this show. But I think I'm getting grief from our engineer. I just looked over here, and our sound engineer.
You mean that eye roll?
Yeah, grief, an eye roll, the infamous look of death. I need to wear a flak jacket from those.
He just turned your mic off?
Yes. Yeah, you. Coach wants to see you bring your playbook. But yeah, so Sutter went pretty far, and it seems like right now in basketball, the team that looks like they're having the most success for this area is the Marysville Ball Club. And they have a big game coming up this week against Mira Loma. Now, Mira Loma, the Marysville Indians are 16-5 on the season. Mira Loma comes in; they're 12-9. But you're getting to the part of the season now where you really can't afford to let your guard down when it comes to anything that you're doing in high school sports. The Marysville Indians, they are, they're 16-5 overall, but they're in league games. They're 6-1. They are tied with Oakmont and Colfax, three-way tie for the league standings at 6-1 records here. The Marysville lost their last game to Colfax. That brought them within it. So Marysville's got some on the line this week when they have Mira Loma coming in. That game, I believe, is Wednesday the 28th at 7:30 over there at the Marysville High School Stadium. And they've got some ball players that are they are bringing it right now. Points per game leader for Marysville, Stephen Martin, averaging 19.4 points per game for the Marysville Ball Club. Zachary Granger, 8.3 rebounds per game. It's interesting when you see how that stacks up against the national average for the ball players. Now, the national averages obviously include the guys that aren't getting any rebounds, but they are well above the national average. Stephen Martin at 19.4 points per game is about 2 points per game more than the Mira Loma top point scorer, which Daniel, I'm going to butcher this last name, Deenjalba. Deenjalba?
I'll go with
does that work? Does that go? The judges say we got another eye roll on that one.
Yeah,
that's nice. So those folks are going to come out. Martin, in addition to the 19.4 points per game he's averaging, is also stealing the ball at about a 4.6 steals per game clip. Authorities have declined to prosecute. And right now it's the Martin Granger show. So we talked about Zach Granger pulling in 8.3 rebounds per game. He's also got one just shy of 2 blocks a game he's averaging. So those two guys are really bringing it for Marysville. And I'm going to try to get out to see that game. I like watching good college or high school basketball.
That local?
It is local. It's at 7:30 here in Marysville. I'd like to go over and take a look at that. So that's what we got going there for Marysville.
I do want to mention that we are going to try to bring players, coaches, bring them on for the Saturday show, and especially, as each season transitions into the next, it does give you opportunity to get a bigger picture of the whole athletic program in each school. So although this is sponsored by a baseball team, we will cover, because baseball isn't happening right now, and so but we're going to cover football, basketball, pickleball.
And baseball is on the horizon.
It is.
Baseball is coming. High school baseball is going to be starting up here in a couple of weeks, in mid-February. That's when they start, and we'll be following that. Yuba City High School, boy, I mean, they took the championship last year, and so they've got some pretty big shoes to fill. But my impression of the ball club last year is that they've got folks that are stacked and ready to do it, because I don't think they lost too many people from last year's team. They had a lot of sophomores, juniors on the team. There were a couple that were seniors that moved on, but they're ready to get back at it, and I'm excited to see what Yuba City High School
If you ever get a chance to go see Yuba City High School baseball game, we broadcast their games when we first started downstairs, and so I was out there for one of the games, and I look over, and they got this board that has a list of every player that made it into the minors and above or something. And it's like over 30 kids. I mean, we just get great baseball players out of here. So we
do. And I mean, I think everybody knows the Stassi name.
Yeah.
I graduated Yuba City High School back in 1986, and I think my graduating class, Darryl Scott, he went on to pitch, I think, for the Angels. But he made it into being drafted by a big league ball club. And I don't know if he ever made it into the bigs, but he did make it into professional baseball through the minor league system.
86. Was
86.
your science professor Thomas Edison?
Well, yeah. All of the pictures
Listen to me.
I know. I'm getting heckled by Bob Fischetti about age. How does that happen? And I can say our illustrious sound engineer, both of them, are loving it too.
Well, yeah, because neither one of them is. I'm not going to say that.
No, do tell.
Haven't reached this point.
Yeah, I mean, just looking over at him, there's more eye rolls from them.
Yeah.
But
the younger set, we should make them come on the air. Also, big on sports has always been Sutter Union.
Yes.
They just, it's amazing. And I have heard this over and over again, so I want to mention it. Not that I don't appreciate the players, right? But players change. But their coaching staff is deep.
Oh, yeah.
And so I know that has a lot to do with it. And you just mentioned at Yuba City, so a lot of the players stayed. And that's a big deal. When a player comes in junior varsity and they're playing and they're being coached and they get a chance to move up. And I'm hoping that we can get some of those players that have been in the whole time, right?
Yeah. I can tell you, I think I may have a pipeline for that specifically from Sutter High School. Shout out to Brandon Flores. Happens to be my nephew, so I think we'd be able to get Brandon to come out on the show, and I'm certain he would love to come out and be able to talk about his teammates and everything that's going on out there in Sutter. I don't know if he's coaching now, but I think he was the JV coach. He played one season for the Drakes that were here a couple of years ago. So you had a guy that was playing out there that was also coaching. And, to me, that is great. That's one of the things I really liked about the collegiate Woodbat League was when you'd have coaches that played Major League Baseball. So you had the Stassies. Mm-hmm. Brock Stassi was the manager of the Gold Sox there the last 2 years, or just before they went away. So he was the manager, I think, in 2019 and 2020. And his brother Max, in 2020 in particular, was an assistant coach. And if you recall, 2020 was the pandemic year.
Yeah.
And they didn't start Major League Baseball. They didn't have their, quote, spring training because of the pandemic until the middle of summer. And so Max Stassi didn't have anything to do. So here he is helping his brother out because we were able to play baseball notwithstanding the pandemic. He's the third base coach. And so here you got these ball players that are college ball players. They're looking forward to making it to the big show. And the best example of their goal, where they want to go, is standing on third base, either giving him the stop sign or waving him through. And one of the cool things about that season was right around late June is when Major League Baseball said, all right, we're going to go ahead and have an abbreviated year. So Max left the ball club for the Gold Sox and went and reported to spring training and then went in. Within a 2-week period, these ball players saw him as their third base coach, then go to the major league. He was on the big league ball club, saw him hit a home run.
Yeah.
And it was just awesome for them to see this guy just homered in a major league game. He was our third base coach 2 weeks ago. So really great opportunity for folks to see there. I really like that aspect of it. And now with the Pioneer League Baseball, these are guys that they still have gas in the tank. They for whatever reason, whether it's injury or maybe they felt like they were passed over, they've still got something left in the tank and they want to make a real run at it to make it back to get hook up with an affiliated ball club. And that's the kind of baseball that we see here, is guys that are just as good as anything you'd see in the, single, double-A level. We had 2 guys last year on the ball club that a year before were playing triple-A baseball. Mm-hmm. And so, that's how close they are to making it to the show.
some of them, I found out later, they got picked up by the Savannah Bananas. And it's like, one of them said, it was interesting because he didn't have to just play baseball; he had to learn how to dance.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
So Bobby Leday.
yeah,
Bobby Leday was probably our most premier player in terms of fielding and hitting and slugging and all that. He is now playing for, I think the Savannah Bananas have 4 teams in their Banana Ball League, and he is playing for one of those. And then the other guy, I'm drawing a blank on his name. He was released by the ball club and ended up playing for the Chuckers up in Idaho Falls right at the end of the season.
oh yeah.
And I don't know why I am drawing a blank on his name, but he also is picked up by Banana Ball. But, the interesting thing is one of the guys who pitched 2 years for the Drakes, Rodrigo Sanchez, he played for the Texas Tailgaters last year in Banana Ball. He was their pitcher, wore a pink cowboy hat when he pitched, and all the ladies loved him. It was great to see those guys out there playing baseball.
Well, it is, and you just don't know. I've heard it when the High Wheelers came last year that these guys are they're ready, right? If they get called up, they're good to go, and you could just tell by the way they play, and they do a opportunity for our local high schools to go down and try out.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
And so, and you've got some just amazing players here locally in baseball in our area. And so, you're liable to, and it wouldn't be the first time for sure, but you're liable to go out, sit in one of those seats, and see a kid that you saw play in high school, and now he's playing there. And
Absolutely.
I just love it. I actually tried out for shortstop.
How did that go?
Not well. As a matter of fact, it was dead in the water. Well, what was funny was they said, "Oh, we're these are the guys that are picking the players when they first came." And so I went up to the guy and I said, "Hey, I'd like to try out for shortstop." And he looked at me and then he said, "We already have a shortstop." I was like, of course you did.
See, if I tried that, they'd say, "You know what? We're just going to play with 8 guys.
Not with that.
We'll play a man down."
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
All right. So what else you got?
Let's see. So we talked about the Marysville Ball Club, the basketball team. They got a game coming up. Yuba City High School. Take a look here. Take a look at my handy dandy little sheet. So the Honkers. Now the Honkers basketball season, they got behind the 8 ball early on. And they've been clawing their way back, but they've had some success over the last 2-3 weeks of the season. They've really started to come back. They're still sub 500, but they're on the way of hitting break even point. And this week they're taking on the Roseville Tigers, and let me see here. And this is going to be at Yuba City.
Oh,
Looking to see, and that game is actually this Monday. That'll be at 7:30 over at Yuba City High School. Let me take a look here at what they got going. We talked about Marysville, their ball players. See, their leading scorer was averaging 19.4 points a game. You got Tyler Ritter, or sorry about Sukhjit Sahota, who is averaging 11.9 points per game for the Yuba City High School, for the Yuba City Honkers. I look at that and I see, when you have one guy that is doing the lion's share of the scoring,
yeah.
That's kind of where the ball goes. When your high scorer is right around 11, 12, 13 points per game, what that tells me is everybody's getting involved in the scoring. They're distributing the ball a lot. Mm-hmm. So you're going to see a lot of that going on. Xavier Armstrong is coming in at little over 5 rebounds a game. He's also coming in about between 1 and 2 blocks per game there. And then they have Javier Rye. Looks like he's be a point guard got 3 assists and 2 steals per game. So they're kind of rounding it out there when it comes to their offensive, defensive production. But they're playing Roseville this Monday at 7:30 over at Yuba City High School. And I like that because, like I said, I wanted to try to take in some of these games, and I may be able to swing that, go take in Yuba City's game on Monday, and then head over to take in the Marysville game on Wednesday. I may drag my my engineer with me. See if he wants to go out and get in a look like, that might not happen there. That might not happen there, Todd. But we'll see. We'll see. You going to go with us? Didn't even want to turn his microphone on for that one.
No,
It's like, I may have to go if you won't give me dinner. So we'll see how that goes. So that's what's going on with Yuba City High School. River Valley's basketball team's playing. Now River Valley's scuffled a little bit. They're at 5-17 on the season.
Oh.
They're taking on the Nevada Union Miners, and that's going to be up in, I believe, that is going to be an away game. That's going to be in Grass Valley. That's right, Grass Valley. And that is, again, Monday at 7:30. I can already tell you I know I won't be taking in that one.
Yeah.
I'm not going to Grass Valley for the game there. But River Valley's ball club, just to give a shout-out to the guys that are performing here, we have Sivak Mundi. He's at 12.2 points per game. Rohit Baga is coming in at 6.8 rebounds per game. Mundi is also averaging about 3.2 assists per game. And Baga, again, is at 1.8 blocks per game. So those guys are the folks that they're relying on over at River Valley for production in the ball club. The guy they're going to have to really face against this is going to be the defensive challenge. The leading scorer for Nevada Union, 24.5 points per game.
Man.
I mean, he is. Look, I remember back to high school. Again, I said graduated Yuba City High School in 1986. And I played soccer for the first 2 years that I was there. And
Is that a sport?
Yeah. Well, you know what I realized soccer now is a winter sport because they're playing soccer now. When I was in high school, soccer was a fall sport.
Oh.
Yeah, we were out there at practicing for soccer right next to the football players. Well, close to the football players. We didn't get too close because we were soccer players. You don't want to be a small soccer player and get too close to a big football player that has some of that trainer's tape that could maybe tape you to a chair, something like that. I that may or may not have happened.
No.
I mean, I'm not the. I don't know if you recall. How big were you when you started high school, if you can remember?
Oh, gee, I was skinny. By the time Vietnam came around, I got drafted. I was 122 pounds.
120. And how tall?
5'9". Well, 5'8.5".
5'8".
Yeah.
So I'll throw it over to Mason. How tall were you? How much did you weigh when you started high school?
Probably like 5'4", maybe even less.
5'4", and
I was thin. I don't know, like not heavy.
Pounds.
That's a small gust of wind could blow me over, I think.
okay, all right. So I started high school, freshman year of high school, 5'2", weighed maybe 100 pounds, soaking wet.
Gosh.
I clearly I have recovered from that. So, but yeah, I was a little guy. And I wanted to play football. But there were no pads or helmet that would fit me. It's like we don't make them that small.
I was on the track team, and Coach Sandler came up to me and he said, "Hey, Fischetti, I want you to play football." And I'm like this little guy, and I said, "Coach, I said I'm really little." He said, "But you're fast, and if you know those big guys are chasing you, good chance you're going to make it to the end zone."
Yeah.
That was his philosophy. It's like you're fast.
Yeah.
I don't remember what my time was, but I just absolutely smoked it in the 50-yard dash. So he was like,
"Oh, I bet.
He ended up having me run the 880, but but because he said you can endure. But it was just an amazing thinking, right? Like, he was a great coach, but I think it's like, so your philosophy is get this little guy who's fast, and then he's going to make it in the end zone because he doesn't want to get hit by those big guys. You're using fear as your basis for, yeah.
But that,
I did it. So
that makes perfect sense. And look, I knew I was fast. In fact, even though I didn't play football, I didn't run track in high school, didn't do anything. When I was, I was at Yuba College. And I was 23 years old when I finally decided, you know what, I'm gonna get serious about education. This is the wild story here. I'm gonna get serious about education. So I was 23 years old out at Yuba College, and I'm not gonna lie, there was a person on the track team. I thought she was very attractive, and I thought, you know what, I could run. So I just decided, just for the heck of it, I'm gonna try out for track. On the collegiate level, never ran it before, and I made the team. Team. I threw the javelin, and I also ran the anchor leg on the 4x100, 4x2, and 4x400. We didn't run those every meet or anything like that, but I was a sprinter. And at 23, just starting out, all right, I can do this. I was kicking myself that I never did that when I was in high school. And I guess the lesson that I would take from that, for you young kids that are listening, because I'm sure there are a lot of you listening on a Saturday afternoon here.
Yeah, they're lining up at the radio.
If I would rather try and be told I couldn't than not try and always wonder if I could.
Well,
right?
Yeah. Did you catch the girl?
No,
she outran you.
No,
did
she. I'm not gonna lie; it was pretty telegraphed there. Didn't work out. She had far better things. She went on to win gold medals in the Olympics.
Wow.
I was So she was not in my league.
I joined the chess team for the same reason.
Chasing a girl?
Yeah. I got on the chess team, and I just really thought, oh, man, I'm going to connect here.
You're working on your chess pickup lines?
The first thing that happened was she sat down with this kid, Mike Chastain, just throwing that name out there.
There's no bitterness at all. I'm sensing nothing in this story.
Yeah. So anyway, so it was worthless, so I quit the team.
Yeah. Just didn't,
Yeah, I just said, well, I'm not interested. But I was not interested. It's like the things. I wonder how many guys could say that, that they joined something because of a girl.
I would imagine
we're going to get these high schoolers on here. We're going to ask them.
Just that's what I want to know. Yeah. Are you playing it for the love of the game, or because you think this girl will like you more?
Yeah.
If you or this. For the girls that are playing sports, you think this guy, whatever.
Well, I wonder how many cheerleaders are really despondent over they turned Bill Gates down.
Yeah.
So that they could date that high school quarterback that now works down at the Helpy Selfie laundromat, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
here's Bill Gates worth. What's he up to now?
Oh, I don't know. A lot.
A couple of 100 billion, something like that. Do you know there, Mason?
I'm trying to think.
Okay. To talk about the kick, it's really off topic, but the guy who had his wallet for Bitcoin on his laptop and somebody threw it away, and he's trying to purchase the landfill over in England because he knows the laptop is somewhere in that landfill, and the amount of Bitcoin that he had, if he were to find it and redeem it, it'd be worth like billions right now. And that's got to be like the same person that didn't give Bill Gates a chance.
Didn't give him time of day.
Yeah.
You're a geek. You got
4:46. That's the time of day. Yes, there.
Yeah. So I just want to mention a couple of things. One, I really appreciate High Wheelers Baseball sponsoring a program. And like I said, we'll be having the current GM, the new manager that's coming in, some of the players, and you'll get a chance to meet them preseason. And then we will cover that. Matter of fact, 93Q will be playing their games live on the radio. You'll be able to hear them. But I just want to mention I love that we have this many high schools this close, and we do want to benefit, get some of those players on and coaches, because this is just such a great opportunity. I've wanted to do this for the longest time, and the possibility of us actually broadcasting a local game is we could do that. Like you were saying that. Now I can't remember which team you said went to the playoffs, right? And it's like
Sutter High School,
Sutter High, and so it's like we can, we can do that and bring that to you. But it'll be really good to get some of the players, local players, on, because they get a chance then to talk about what it's like to do that, and hopefully encourage other kids play high school sports. It's healthy. Put the controller for the video games down.
I know.
Get out in the sunshine and let some 300-pound lineman run over you. I mean, come on, that's living.
These guys that they pump iron, they give the flex there, go out to the gun show and they're kissing their biceps, and you got here's the gun show. It's their thumbs. Just these overdeveloped thumbs from playing, they're playing
right
video
before
games
we
all the
came,
time.
I was playing Zelda.
Were you?
Oh, I love that game. Great game. Anyway, it's video games.
Yeah, I was blessed in the sense that way back we had a Wii, a Nintendo Wii, and my two kids at the time, I mean, they were, my son was like 6, my daughter was 11, and they loved, I believe, to sit there and watch me play Zelda Twilight Princess.
No.
They just watch me play it for hours. And at least
it's better than TV.
They claim they liked it, but they have very good attention spans.
That was a unique thing when they brought out the Wii, that you actually were physically involved.
Yeah.
I mean, is it still around?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. That game actually made my golf game better.
Whoa.
And the only reason why was to have a good golf swing, you want to have a good tempo. You were forced to have a good tempo or the controller wouldn't work. So I'm not saying it made my golf game a lot better, but it made it a little bit better.
So right here, I'll just throw this out there. Right here in Marysville, they have a new place where you can play indoor golf.
Really?
And it's the same stuff they use for the pros that track your swing and track all that. And you can play Pebble Beach.
Yeah, I thought I saw Tiger Woods was talking about that.
Yeah, and so it's right here in Marysville. It's right down on D Street, right across from the Brick.
I would be interested in taking a look at that to see, see if maybe Wii golf a step up. We talked. By the way, we talked about soccer, right? And I do look, the sports that get all the love. The big ones like football, baseball, basketball. Those are the ones that get a lot. But soccer, just to be fair. We talk about right now the Marysville basketball team is really, they're doing really well their basketball season. Well, I would be remiss if I didn't point out that River Valley, the Falcons soccer team, is actually doing very well. Last week, they beat the 12 Bridges Rhinos. I think it was 7-0.
Whoa.
Gerardo Gonzalez had 2 goals. Miguel Ortiz, he had 3. Julio Hernandez had a goal, and Omar Vaca threw in a goal. And they really took it to the Lincoln Ball Club. Their goalkeeper blanked him, so it was 7-0 ball game. And I think they played down in 12 Bridges in Lincoln. And boy, that's a nice facility down there. Both River Valley is newer, and the 12 Bridges School is newer as well. And but yeah, River Valley Soccer is doing pretty well. They had some.
So we will
guys
cover
get stuff
soccer.
done.
All
Yeah.
kidding aside, cover soccer and just every high school sport, right? And so I think it's a great opportunity again. So we're going to be able to we've got a text line, and you'll be able to listen and text in. It's 530-384-5151. Not today. We just kind of wanted to introduce, give you an overview. Again, thank you so much to the High Wheelers for sponsoring local high school sports. I think that's huge, and I'm very grateful for it. And all kidding aside, we will cover most sports.
Yeah, I wanted to.
We're not covering the chess team, Michael Chastain.
Pickleball?
Yeah, pickle or what was the one you curling?
Curling. Yeah,
So
the Yuba City bobsled team.
We just run you down a levee, But I did want to mention one thing. So we talked about, look, if there's folks out there that are in their high schools and you got a student that is, one of the journalists and has stuff.
Yeah.
How can they contact us? If somebody's listening right now and they've got that, how can they contact us?
So the easiest way to make sure it gets in is send an email to info, I-N-F-O, at 93qradio.com. That's info at 93qradio.com. You can also go to the 93qradio.com web page, and then where it says contact, you can just contact us and put a message in there and said, hey, I'd like to appear on the show, like to bring the team in, or I'd like to be a reporter for this new show. Anything that will help support local sports. That's why the High Wheelers are sponsoring this. They appreciate and recognize our local sports teams. And, you mentioned the Stassies and others. Yep. We've had some great baseball players come out of here. But that doesn't, golf. Golf's big here.
Yeah. Yeah.
We talked about that. I caddied. That was my first job. I caddied.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. This is a terrible job.
I can see you as the type of caddy, the guy gets out there and rips one. It's like 300-yard drive, but it's a really bad slice, and so it's way off over in the sticks and stuff. And I could see you being the guy that goes, well, I'm not looking for it.
No, I was the guy.
I'm not going to go get that.
I'm the guy that said you should have used a 3-wood. Yeah. I don't know what you were thinking, using an 8-iron.
Or what's worse is not just the 3-wood. It's, I told you should have used the 3, because you got to get the I told you so in there, right? Oh, that'd be hilarious.
Gosh, we are coming right up to the top of the hour, which means I have to say you're listening to KETQ 93.3 FM, Yuba City. That is our legal ID. And I'd like to thank the new host of the High Wheelers local sports show, Mr. Todd Kuhnen.
Thank you very much, and thank you for being on as my first guest.
Yeah, people are going to be going, this is why he only does color. The man knows nothing about sports.
By the end of the High Wheelers baseball season, people will be looking at you for stats to fill out their fantasy football league stuff. That's my goal, to get Bob Fischetti to be the walking encyclopedia. The encyclopedia of knowledge when it comes to local sports. Wow. Do I have my work cut out for me?
You definitely do, because I'll be down at the snack bar.
Food goes in here.
Yeah, but
All right.
So anyway, just one more time,
Sure.
if you'd like to be a participant, we will have the High Wheelers. We'll have the general manager will be coming on next week, talking about the changes that are going on there, and then also we'll be bringing the new manager on, as well as some of the players will start checking in. We'll be talking about those of you that are willing to be a family.
Host families,
host
yes.
family for players. So stay tuned to it. You'll be able to. We will be popping up a way that you can contact us through the High Wheelers as well. We'll cover that next week. But in the meantime, info@93qradio.com. And again, if you've got a kid or you are a high school student and you'd like to do the journalism and report on the team, just give us a quick email and we'll take care of that.
I cannot stress how awesome an opportunity that is.
Yeah.
The ability to, if you're interested in journalism, you're a teenager, the ability to pretty much step in and be part of it and maybe even make it on air with that. Looks good on the resume, looks good on your college applications. You were doing that. Plus, it gives you great experience. 1986, I would have, I wouldn't say I would have killed for it, but I would have severely maimed somebody for that opportunity. Just to be able to do that and to see if it's something that floats your boat, something you'd like to pursue. So great opportunity there.
All right, so we will not be doing a couple of things. We won't be doing the fishing report unless there's a competitive high school fishing, right? We won't be doing the ballet report. I didn't know about there's any competitive ballet. But...
Well, if we did a fishing report, I think we'd have to call that trolling with Bob Fischetti.
Trolling with Bob.
That would be awesome.
Not going to happen.
What are you using there? A lure?
We're looking forward to baseball. I'm just going to be honest. Of all the sports, and I was on the swim team, track team. I did that stuff. But baseball's just in my blood. I grew up playing baseball. The guy next door worked for Rawlings. And so, man, we had a regular backstop. We actually had a first baseman's mitt, right? And had the real bases, the pitcher's rubber home plate. We just loved it. When, man, the sun went up, we were out there playing.
Yeah.
When the sun went down, we played flashlight tag.
Is Billy out? Yeah. How do you know? Because he's laying here. You got hit with the ball. Okay.
It's amazing in a neighborhood how us kids, it'd be dark, right? We knew it was going to be time to come in, and we could hear Charles Slaughter whistle. He had a really,
yeah.
He whistled. We knew, those guys are going, right? Everybody had their thing. My dad just stood on the front porch and grunted, and we were home.
You were, yeah.
Whoa, time to go home, So I probably favor baseball, but we're going to cover everything, especially with our high schools out here, and we will try to cover, like we said, not just Wheatland and East Nicholas, but Live Oak, and we might even get Gridley in there.
Yeah. Well, come on. Let's not set the bar too high.
Yeah. That's local, isn't it?
It's local enough. Local enough.
Well, we should be running out of time here.
I believe so.
And because we're out of...
It's top of the hour.
Yeah,
this is an hour show.
There it is. Thanks for listening. You've been listening to the High Wheelers Local Sports Show. We'll be back, Todd Kuhnen, Bob Fischetti, and we will have the general manager of the High Wheelers in with announcements next week.